back from Costa Rica.
We spent 2 full weeks in Costa Rica and we went to a bunch of different cities and we had a great time.
It was so amazing. Everything in Costa Rica was so much fun, and so we are gonna give you our top 5 must-dos?
While you're in Costa Rica. Costa Rica was a great place to visit, and we just had so much fun and we wanted to share it with you guys. And so a few quick tips if you're looking to go there. Just know that it is very easy for Americans to travel there compared to probably other like Central American or South American countries. I would say for the most part, it was very easy to just use our credit cards there.
Yeah.
It was easy. I think every place we went accepted Visa, and I'm sure they would have accepted MasterCard too. We had a little trouble with American Express cards, just because some of the small towns that we went to, they didn't take those cards, but they always accepted Visa.
Specifically, like the Cloud Forest, Monteverde was pretty much the one that didn't accept American Express. So we used our Visa card there.
Yeah, and we never had to convert any of our United States dollars into their local currency. So I thought that was very convenient for us, and it made it just so much easier while we were there. We found with a lot of countries, you may be questioning like the
cleanliness of the water,
of the drinking water, but we drank the tap water in Costa Rica the entire time, and we were completely fine.
We only got food poisoning once. No, I'm kidding. That was from fish, not the water. The water was totally safe, and it tasted really good.
And the last thing that I'm going to mention before we get into our top 5 things that we wanted to do, or we want you guys to experience while you're in Costa Rica, is that they're very English-speaking country. I would say for the most part. I mean, you are going to run into people who don't know English. That's just because their native language is Spanish, and but we found that a lot of people, especially at the hotels, they spoke English very well. And so, it's always good to learn at least a few common phrases in the native language where you're going. But for the most part, you're probably going to be okay if you know English and maybe just a little bit of Spanish. Yeah,
there was sometimes that we couldn't communicate with our shuttle driver or something, but we just used Google Translate on our phone and it was fine. So now we're gonna do our top 5. Our number 5 is a catamaran in Tamarindo. I think you could probably do it anywhere in Costa Rica. We were on the side with the Pacific Ocean, not the Caribbean Sea. So the snorkeling was not the best snorkeling, but the whole overall catamaran experience was so amazing. They had an open bar and it was so much fun just to be out on the water, and we got to see the sunset and all the different sides of Costa Rica with the mountains and the beaches and stuff. So I think you should definitely try to do some kind of catamaran tour. And I don't think that it necessarily needs to include snorkeling, because the snorkeling was fun, but not our most favorite snorkeling ever.
Yeah, absolutely. The water was great. The crew that we had on the boat that we went on, they were fantastic. We loved it so much, and we definitely talked about this in our video that we made while we were snorkeling with that catamaran. The snorkeling wasn't the best, but you're not going to get the best snorkeling everywhere. Yeah. So the boat, definitely recommend doing that, but I think like you said, you can do that at a lot of different places. Number 4 thing to do in Costa Rica is go zip lining. Zip lining is also one of those things where you don't necessarily have to do it in one specific location. I believe there's probably many different places where you can do this in Costa Rica, but we specifically did this in Monteverde, and I would probably recommend doing it there. Especially if you're already planning to go to Monteverde, just ziplining through the cloud forest and just seeing all the trees pass by while you're going. It was just so much fun, and we did it in a thunderstorm. It was absolutely wild, and we were a little scared just because of all the lightning that was surrounding us. But it was so much fun, and I would do it again.
Yeah, it was so much fun ziplining through the cloud. That was like nothing I've ever experienced before. And then our number 3 is the Hanging Bridges tour. So to be honest, I wasn't that excited for this when we signed up for it, but obviously it made it into our top 5. So I think it was such a sweet surprise. We got to see so much wildlife on this tour. And when you're walking through the rainforest, we did this in Arenal, so it wasn't the cloud forest, it was the rainforest. When you're walking through the rainforest and you're like at the same level with the trees, it's like you just feel like you're like at one with nature and like with God, and it's just so amazing being up there in the trees, and then you're just immersed in all of the wildlife. We got to see monkeys, we saw 2 vipers, we saw a poison dart frog. It was so cool.
Yeah, that was a really great experience, especially because you're suspended so high off the ground on these bridges, and you know, you're just looking out at what seems like an endless rainforest, and you know, in every direction you just see trees and mountains, and it was just great.
And our number 2 is the boat safari. I probably would have put this at number 1, but the only reason that we didn't is because there is wildlife involved and you can never predict wildlife, and we learned that the hard way on some of our tours. But we had amazing luck on our boat safari, and we saw 6 crocodiles and I would say about 10 howler monkeys, and it was just, oh, it took my breath away hearing the monkeys howl and then seeing the crocodile, like this 10-foot crocodile swim in the water, and then it like disappeared under the water. And I was like, there's probably crocodiles, so many crocodiles under our boat right now. So the only reason that we didn't put this one at number 1 was because you can't control wildlife, so.
Yeah, I think we're just very grateful that we were able to see as many animals as we did. And, you know, it was just really cool because this was in Tamarindo, and it was just in the estuary, just the runoff of the ocean. And so it was just really cool because it was like right next to the beach where we were staying, and
which was also terrifying.
Little terrifying, but yeah, and it was just like right there, and you know, it was just so fun to be out there.
And you can also do a boat safari in Arenal. And we met a few people that did a boat safari in Arenal, and it looked like they had a very similar experience. So if you're not going to Tamarindo, but you are going to Arenal, I would say you should definitely do the boat safari.
And before we say our number 1 thing, we did have a couple honorable mentions. We wanted to go to Rio Celeste and La Fortuna waterfall.
Yeah, and we saw pictures from friends that we made there, and Rio Celeste looked absolutely incredible. The water is like bright blue, and there was like sloths right on the trail. So I would definitely say go to Rio Celeste if you can. And then we also heard La Fortuna was amazing. Our number 1 pick was hiking the Arenal volcano. It was such a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, you're hiking up this giant volcano that went off like 10 years ago. So it's like so active. And you just feel like you feel so small, and you just feel this like huge magnitude of this volcano, and you just feel the power, and it is so amazing. And I think you also have a good chance of seeing wildlife on that tour. We saw some really cool birds and a snake, and I'm sure you could probably see monkeys and sloths, but again, wildlife, you can't control it. So we didn't. But just like when you are going on the hike and you turn the corner and you are on the volcano and you're seeing where you are for the first time, it's like, it just takes your breath away. So those are our top 5, and we would highly recommend doing all of them if you can. but definitely the top two at the very least. Costa Rica has such a special place in our heart, and we are so grateful that we got to experience it and just live it out and be immersed in the culture and do all the crazy adrenaline rush things there, because there's somehow always a giant thunderstorm going on, so it makes everything that you're doing like 10 times more intense.
Yeah, we're just, well, we keep saying this, but we're just so grateful we were able to go. And yeah, if you can't go for 2 weeks like us, you know, try to make time for some of the things we mentioned, and I'm sure you'll have a great time while you're there.
So we will see you in our next vlog, which will be in about 3 days. If you liked all of hearing about all the things that we said, we have videos for specifically each one of those things. So if any of them caught your interest, I would just scroll down below, look at our videos, and they should be like right there. So we will talk to you guys next time, and we'll be sharing our next adventure soon.